Oh guys, it's everything else. Sorry for my voice sounding really bad, but I'm kind of sick because, last past days were really bad. Like, I got sick, I need to re-record all of the videos I already made. Um, so yeah, I like wasted an hour and something of my time already. And stuff like this, and also, I'm really tired, sick, and also everyone keeps interrupting me when I'm recording my videos. Also, I spilled water on my shirt, and literally, as I was talking about people interrupting me, like literally, my mother just opened the door. So yeah, quite literally, last 2 days were just misfortunes. So this video will probably get high on the algorithm or something. But I'm going to do it anyway because I kind of like making videos, and that's a nice break from actually so much trouble on the weekend and stuff like this, and from the fact that I will have like a lot of tests really soon. So yeah. Now, of course, as investigator, even though you are martial class, use intelligence. So that's why I recommend that you play a ranged investigator, because not only you get that, but you get it plus your constitution modifier of hit points, so that's pretty average. And also, like you start with your intelligence, so if you want to be pretty defensive, then you need to invest in your dexterity, constitution, and wisdom. So yeah, playing ranged will be pretty much the best option, especially when you look at the stats. Um, you start expert at perception, reflex, and will, but just trained in fortitude. So yeah, you're even. It will be even easier to debuff your like melee attacks. And you start trained in society, get some skill depending on your like subclass, and also 4 plus your intelligence modifier, which will probably make you start with like other interruption. Which will make you probably start with like around 8 skills or so, or 9, plus also your background skills and stuff like this. Also, yeah, you have weapons up to martial and armor up to light. So yeah, another reason why you should be investing in your dexterity, because your defense will be pretty bad unless you take a human with that like the armor fit, that like the armor. You take a human with a general fit, which leads to like the armor fit, and then take a sentinel dedication at level 2. Yeah. And then trained in Investigator class DC. Pretty good. So far, so good. And first of all, you can now have pursue a lead. Essentially, you quite literally pursue a lead. It is a lot of text, so I'm not going to read it all of it, but you get bonuses to checks that use intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, to things that require you pursuing your lead, which will be pretty good if you're trying to do a mystery campaign or something like this. Um, Now you can clue in, which just like essentially like you can essentially just share information with another creature that attempts to investigate the thing that you're pursuing. So yeah, that's pretty good. If you're playing in a really heavy roleplay thing that is related to detectivity or something like this, detectivity. I think detectivity. It's how it's called, like detective stuff. No, stratagem. The stratagem is really good because you spend one action and you roll your attack roll. But with intelligence instead of your strength, dexterity, or stuff like this. Yeah, so That must be like with an like a weapon that normally uses dexterity. So yeah, that works on bows and stuff like this. So that's why I would actually consider it once again that investigators should rather be probably ranged with guns or stuff like that. With guns, bows and stuff like this, you know. And yeah, and yeah, of course, you can use it as a free action if you're preferring a lead with a creature and stuff like this. So that's pretty good. Also, your methodology is your subclass, so just let's try like to ignore it. Of course, strategic strike is like when you use device stratagem, you add additional 1d6 precision damage, which will increase up to like 5d6 later. Like yeah, every 4 levels, pretty much every time you get an ancestry feat, it increases. So yeah, pretty much every time you get an ancestry feat without using ancestry paragon, you essentially get +1 d6 for that. So that's actually pretty good. That's like the best feature that Investigator actually gets. You get skill, also skill increases. Yeah, you get like double the skill increases. So just like Rogue essentially. You're essentially just like Rogue. You take at precision damage and stuff like this. You're just Rogue, but differently, pretty much. And you're just like the Rogue next door. Like, Mom, can we have Rogue at home? No, we have Rogue at home. Rogue at home, the Investigator. I know I'm old. I'm old. I'm so old. So yeah. Now you also get like skillful lessons, aka additional feats. At pretty much additional. Oh yeah, also Killer Collection. So yeah, essentially, that essentially gives you extra, skill feats, but they can also only be used for intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And Keen Recollection essentially gives you untrained improvisation, but only for like recall knowledge related skills. So yeah, that's pretty much any skill that uses wisdom or intelligence. So just keep that in mind, that you should probably first decide to invest your stuff, invest like your skills that you get for free into probably, just either skills that you really want to pursue. You need to do that to skills that you really want to pursue, and also like stealth, dexterity, for like all of the dexterity, strength, and charisma based skills, Unless you somehow took like a Thaumaturge dedication or something and goes Thaumaturge esoteric lore, but I don't think that you can get this. And yeah, weapon expertise. Expert at weapons, vigilance, senses, master at perception. Now, weapon specialization, of course, additional damage, and great fortitude, expert at fortitude, investigator expertise. So yeah, just just your circumstances bonus to pursue that lead just increases to +2. Your +2, and your proficiency rank, of course, increases to expert. So that's pretty good. Deductive improvisation. So yeah, you can attempt any check that requires you to be trained in a skill, even if you're untrained on it. You can attempt any check that requires you to have master proficiency as long as you have expert proficiency. So that's pretty good because, like master proficiency is like pretty cool stuff, like climbing a rock wall, while with expert you can just like climb normal climbing stuff. And evasion, once again, just master at, like, reflex saves and also crit instead of normal success. And extra damage, once again, greater resolve. So yeah, legendary at will. And also just bonuses, so you don't get crit fails no more, and you take half damage from fails. So essentially right now, essentially all your will saves have an effect of natural 20 pretty much at this point. Now, light armor mastery is, yeah, just like master at light armor and master detective. So yeah, just master at investigator class DC and a lot of stuff that your GM needs to process. So yeah, just like investigator is a rogue but gives your GM brain damage. So especially if you're like a D&D player, then investigator is a perfect class for you, because I know from like my experience playing D&D that the D&D players really like to mess with their GMs. So yeah, just like playing an investigator makes it so like GM needs to actually essentially just not only take care of the world and stuff like this, but also need to actually like play half of your character for you. Like no, playing an investigator is like you playing a character and GM playing two characters additionally. So yeah, that's like rogue but harder on the GM. Now on chemical sciences, yeah, just you get ability, you tap into alchemy and stuff like this. So yeah, you can just like create a single alchemical elixir or two. But yeah, just I think that quick tincture would be way better if you actually were able to do this with poisons. But now empiricism, yeah, essentially one intelligence based skill, and that's all to investigator feat. And expanded expedition, so yeah, just that's pretty good because you can like recall knowledge for free once per 10 minutes. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. Pretty good. Fornastic medicine, which is a thing I really love because you get fornastic acumen, which, it's pretty good. And you get battle medicine, which is a very good thing. And better, you get additional hit points on a success equal to your level. The target becomes immune to just 1 hour instead of 1 day. And interrogation, so yeah, just people who can help but trust you, and that's like F tier subclass. That's like the worst subclass, one of the worst design subclass ever. Like, I think at least. So just. So yeah, that's actually what. Like, you attempt diplomacy. Like, over here you need charisma. Like, you already, like, essentially you already have no points to give for strength because you need dexterity for your actual stuff. And like dumping wisdom could actually be the option. But just like it will be pretty hard on you if you dump wisdom also, pretty much. And also, all your perception skills and stuff like this. And all of the skills that you will actually use rely on wisdom. So we cannot really do this. You use intelligence, so you cannot dump intelligence. Constitution, like nobody can really dump constitution unless they're insane. So interrogation, even though at the first time I was like thinking, wow, this sounds the coolest. And then you think that, well, wait, I have no time to, I have no points to sacrifice for that, for charisma. Oh, essentially, if I want to play like a person that is not a maniac with this, I will need to actually sacrifice quite a lot of stuff for that. Or I will have essentially like -6 to that. Because -1 is like, your average investigator has like -1 to charisma. So yeah, like unless you have like a unless you have like a very roleplay session that literally has no combat, then unless you do that, then you're just messed up. Like your situation is like really bad if you're trying to actually do this. Now, Investigator fits. Investigator doesn't have really too many great fits in my opinion. You know, like you can have like all the pretty cool stuff, like, you know, except like this one, which is actually pretty good, like athletic strategist. Like, I'm going to tell you, even though like connect the dots actually, like all the actual like good stuff that I can actually see is like ban in Pathfinder Society, like connect the dots and who done it, like they mess up the whole GM's game and stuff like this. Like pretty much everything that you can see is just like messed up. Like it will mess you up unless, except like Trickster's Ace and all the world in the time, all the time in the world. Sorry, I'm sick, so I don't think like really great, but a lot of stuff that you can see over here, except like very high level feats like shared stratagem, like so, seriously, like except for that, like Investigator doesn't really have too many good feats, you know. So yeah, for like your armor and stuff like this, personally, I would recommend that you take some sort of bow, most likely a short bow. So yeah, you should take a short bow, in my opinion, and you should take, you know, like a chain shirt. A short bow and a chain shirt. That seems pretty reasonable for you to take, you know. Like this is probably like the best way to actually do this, to actually do Investigator. So yeah, it's essentially a worse rogue in my opinion, technically. Sometimes when I look at this, like unless you like, it's way less customizable, you know. It's kind of a rogue for people that specifically want to play a ranged rogue, because you know ranged rogues are not all that good, you know. Like all the ranged rogues just rely on you trying to like critically succeed a recall knowledge check on the enemy if you take a mastermind rogue or something like that, because that's pretty much only way you can normally play a ranged rogue. So if you're trying to play a ranged rogue, then you have an Investigator, or if you're like in a very heavy roleplay situation. So yeah, my throat right now hurts. I need to like drink something and stuff like this, and I already told you about pretty much everything that you need to know. So just remember, all of this stuff is just my opinion, even though it's based in facts. It just ends up being it just ends up being mostly my opinion, even though it has some groundwork to like support it, to just convince you to like my opinion and stuff like this. But it's important. Most importantly, you should have fun. You know, I'm just trying to like optimize the amount of fun that you guys have. So just remember, guys, try to find your own path through freaks of nature.